T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Coach on Fire Radio.
I am the dancing through the fire. I am the champion, and you're gonna hear me roar.
Hi, and a very warm welcome to my radio show, Let's Talk Relationships and Life. And it really is wonderful to have you with us today. And I'm so excited to introduce a very, very, very special guest in a moment. But first, I just wanted to take a moment to talk to you about what you can expect to learn and how you're going to feel really inspired by my shows, which are aired every other Saturday. And my name is Louise Armstrong. And I have a huge passion and drive in life, all about relationships. And this really stems from my own personal transformation. And now I'm hugely motivated to share my message across the world, as I believe we all crave that human connection. And you know, it's a funny world we live in where we seemingly have so many ways of connecting with each other, yet so many of us feel disconnected. And this is one of the reasons I am driven to bringing people together to start really deepening those connections so we can feel a sense of belonging once again. And I believe all of us crave to be emotionally loved, and that might be on a romantic level, personal, or through friendships. But if we're unable to make that connection, it's really because we are emotionally wounded ourselves. So self-love really is the very first step in healing before we can even look at making those emotional love connections with others. And I know that so many of us struggle with relationships, and perhaps right now you're going through a breakup, maybe you're really recently divorced, or your partner's had an affair, perhaps you're struggling with your mother or your father, or maybe your children, or a work colleague's let you down, or you just really want to take your relationship to a deeper level. Well, this is where we come in to really help you heal your wounds, love yourself, and make those emotional connections once again. Well, I have an amazing relationship business helping individuals and couples all over the world. And now I feel this is the right time for me to give other experts a chance to share their expertise. And this is where the show is going to be of such value, as I'm going to be introducing amazing coaches, therapists, motivators, and public speakers to share with you their expertise and knowledge. Because you know, life is all about relationships, and the better the connection, the better the quality of life. Now it is time for me to introduce Max Ivy, and a huge welcome, Max.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me here, and I love your energy.
Wonderful. Well, it's a huge honour and a privilege. Thank you. Well, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Max before we dive into finding even more about him. So Max was born into a family of carnival owners in Texas, all the way over there in the US. And Max was diagnosed with, no, I'm not going to be able to say it, retinitis pigmentosa, RP. And he started losing his sight at the age of 12, at that tender age of 12. But he had such a natural gusto for life. Max became heavily involved in the Scouts, and he achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. And by the time he graduated from college, Max was completely blind. He also worked in the family business alongside his brothers until his father succumbed to lung cancer. Faced with his own mortality, Max made some life-altering changes. He underwent gastric surgery and lost over 250 pounds. Wow, that is phenomenal. He started his own business, buying and selling amusement rides, and learned how to blog using software for visually impaired people. Wow, so inspiring. And overcoming many, many obstacles, Max made a name for himself online and now shares his experiences on The Blind Blogger. And Max's favourite things entail teaching and helping others achieve their goals. And so he began another business, personal coaching. And with the companionship of his crazy dog, Penny, Max now spends his day singing, reading, blogging, working, writing, creating videos and coaching. And one day Max would like to travel the world and meet his many online friends and clients in person. He'd also like to meet a special lady to share his life with. Wow, this is such an honour to have you with us today, Max. You are an inspiration to all of us, and wow, thank you. So,
Well, thank you. I appreciate you giving me such a good introduction. And the only thing that I need to correct is that back in March of last year, Penny passed on, so I no longer have her as my mindfulness coach, and I really miss that dog.
Oh, bless. It's devastating when we lose our pets, isn't it? I know the feeling.
Yes, it is, and it wasn't we lost her in March, and it wasn't until April or May that I actually got back to being more like myself, and the thing I finally had to do is I actually wrote this as part of the blog post. I said, when creative people have tragedies, we create. Songwriters write music, so I wrote a blog post, and once I got a lot of that out into the world, wrote it down, and went through the good and the bad memories of Penny, things really started to improve for me as far as productivity and just feeling more like myself.
I can so resonate with you there, Max, with both things. Losing a pet, can be actually more devastating for some people than losing a person in their lives. And the way that you expressed yourself through blogging, I think writing, for me, is a wonderful way of expressing and healing and sharing that vulnerability. So thank you for sharing that, Max. And I am sorry for the loss of Penny. Are you going to consider another dog?
Well, I would. However, I share the house with my mom, my younger brother, and his son. And my nephew Seth is not ready to have another dog yet. And just the way he reacts when you mention a dog, or when he sees dogs on television, I don't know how long it'll be before he is ready for another dog. So right now we're petless, and we're not looking for one. But when we were looking for Penny, but we weren't looking for her to be the dog she was. We were hoping for a nice little maybe 25, 30-pound lap dog that would have high energy and be great to play with my nephew. And we got a 95-pound dog that took over the household and basically made us her humans.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh, God bless Penny. Okay, I'm going to dive straight in here, Max, and I really want to find out, you are an incredible man, and just from that little bio that I've just read out of there, if Max can do it, what is your excuse after all? And how do we find solutions instead of making excuses? Because so many of us make excuses as to why we're not doing what we want to do, why we can't achieve it, and excuses about our lives and ourselves. So how can you help us find these solutions, Max? How did you find yours?
Well, sadly for a lot of people, including myself, it can take a health crisis before you actually start saying I'm no longer happy with making excuses to myself, and you start taking some real action, both small and large. But a lot of times what the real problem is that people are doing things for the wrong reasons. They are doing things because their parents wanted them to, or because they thought they should or they had to. Quite a few people are caught in that They are parents, they're spouses, they have jobs, they have bills, but they're not really happy because they're pursuing a life that we have told them that they want, that they should want, instead of doing what would make them happy. I have a friend over in the UK. His name is David Rafe. He's got 4 kids. His first 2, one's a doctor, one's a lawyer. Because when they were growing up, that's what their daddy was doing. He was a professional person who went to work. His second 2 kids, they've seen their dad as a podcaster who makes his living having conversations in the back garden, and they have no interest at all of going to a real job. They want to start their own businesses or start their own blogs or podcasts. So a lot of it is we've been trained to think we should want X, Y, Z, A, B, and C, and those aren't things that make us happy. And as a result, we have to make excuses just to keep doing what we're doing. You know, it's if we start asking ourselves those questions as, are these excuses, are these really things that keep me from accomplishing what I really want? We have to have some hard discussions with ourselves and then eventually with the people around us. The other thing that holds a lot of people back are the people around them. You know, one of the things I did with my first book, Leading You Out of the Darkness into the Light, was to include my email address, because I felt like people who are starting that journey, they're making those first few small, scared steps towards their goal, they probably wouldn't have anybody in their immediate circle of friends or family who are going to understand that, who are going to encourage them instead of telling them, you know, you've always failed. There's no way you're going to succeed now. So in many cases, it's who you surround yourself with, and I wanted to be at least one person, one voice for these people that would say, you know, why can't you do this? You know, what are your excuses? And then sometimes you just have to keep knocking down excuses until they go, okay, I don't have a really good reason. And then they start making a list. They start to find solutions. And I've been really fortunate that thanks to some good people online, people that I've met through blogging and blog commenting, that I have people who will not only tell me, you know, Max, you can do it. I've got people who are like, Max, we know there's more inside you than being an equipment broker or than being those are the kind of people that I've been blessed to meet, because I didn't say, well, you can't meet good people online. You know, you have to meet, if you're going to make a really good friend, you have to meet them in person. They have to be a neighbor. You have to have coffee. They have to go to work with you or something. But instead, I've said, you know, what says I can't meet really great people online and build friendships and relationships and have them be the kind of people who will be there for you and who will challenge you, will call you out when you're making your own excuses. Like 2 years ago when I said I might not go to New York City because of the protests after the Trump election, and people were like, Max, you've done worse than this, and if you don't go, you'll never forgive yourself. But at the same time, I've also had people who are like, Max, you know, you can be a public speaker, you can write a book, you know, you are capable of so much more than you see inside yourself. And to borrow that old line from the last season of Saved by the Bell, there's so much inside you. I just hope I'm around you when you let it all out.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. That's just beautiful. And I'm so happy that we've opened this show with this, because all of that just so resonates with me, and I'm sure it will with a lot of listeners as well. I hear this all the time, Max, that people are living, it's like living in a mask, you know, and we get to our adult life and we're just not living, we're not being true to ourselves, because we're actually craving that parental love, and we think we will be loved if we are the doctor, if we are the lawyer. So, yeah, absolutely. That's, I see that all the time, and it's really quite sad, you know, that people are living behind this. And online,
in my case, my dad didn't want me to be a carnival owner. He wanted me to go to law school and do something that would benefit the family, but that wouldn't require me to live the crazy life. He used to tell people, Max, the carnival business is the only job in the world where insanity is not a disqualification, but maybe a necessity.
Oh, I love that.
And I try